All right, everybody. I am here a couple minutes late, which is not a big deal. Better than my normal time. I didn't realize my hat is kind of crooked here. See if we can straighten that out. You know what? We're gonna roll with the crooked hat for tonight, right? Let's keep it moving. All right, everybody. We've gotten past the Christmas holidays where everybody do the whole Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Everybody's nice for give or take of 1 or 2 days, right? That's basically what it is. Now we into the new year. It's back to the way it was, back to normal business. F you, F your mama, all that good stuff, right? So we're accustomed to it now at this point in our lives of people wanting to be nice over the holidays, but when the holiday is over, it's back to business as usual. I hate you, you hate me. And we're gonna roll. We're gonna leave the hat tilted like that, but I think we're gonna roll with it like that, right? And there's so much going on out here in the country today. I mean, it's just so much going on. We got Venezuela, of course, that's going to be a topic. Um, we're talking about the deep state, these right wingers and their perception of who the deep state is, who's controlling the country. We've got the young lady who was just recently lost her life to the ICE agent. And I'm not going to stay on that long. I'm really not, because there's a couple of videos I want to play, because I'm only going to go about 30 minutes, maybe 45 max, but around 30, 45 minutes. So it won't be a long live. But I want to say this. I'm noticing more and more outrage dealing with this situation. And people are asking themselves, why isn't the Black community outraged? Now, I'm not here to say whether the cop was right or wrong. I have my opinion, but I'm not here to say that. I'm just here to talk about a specific of it, because I think everybody's got their own opinion. If you've seen the videos, there's several different angles of the video that you can see, and you can make your own adjustment from that. But the thing that has gotten me, don't want to say up in awe, as they say, nothing surprises me this much anymore, especially in my life. It's just not a whole lot's going to surprise me. Is the fact that we have a certain group of America who has always was numb to killings within the law enforcement department. I'm not sure how I should word that, right? But they were numb to it because it didn't affect them. And now the fact is, and now everybody wants to text me. Now the fact is, media has made us numb, as American as a whole, especially as Black people. We've even gotten numb to seeing our own people get shot down the street like dogs. That's just a fact. We've gotten numb to it. And now that my white brothers and sisters see one of theirs get unalive or shot by the police, they're saying, well, what's going on? We can't believe this. Well, believe it. It happens all the time in the Black communities. What do they say? It's nothing new under the sun. And it's not that my white brothers and sisters in the white community, it's not that you guys aren't attacked by law enforcement. It's not that you guys aren't alive by law enforcement. It's just the fact that they don't show it. If you look at the statistics, you will see that just as many white guys are shot by the police as Black guys. It's just that it's promoted more. Now, I'm not going to say just as many. It's a large group. They're not catching up to getting shot by the police for us being Black. But it happens all the time. And because they don't show it to you, you live in a world thinking, well, it's only the Black people that don't want to obey. So they shot him, right? Whether they shoot him in the back, doesn't matter. Shoot him in the head, hands up, they still shoot him, right? So you guys have gotten so used to not seeing your own people shot in the street like a dog, to the point now you're in disarray because you're saying, well, wait a minute, what did she do to warrant losing her life? Now, and I'm not here to say what she did or didn't do. Now, what I do know is she's a mother. She's dropping the kid off at the daycare center. It happens. But the reality is, let's not play this guilt trip to Black people or Black Americans. I don't want to say Black people. Black Americans, don't try to bring us into this guilt trip, because guess what? We've been telling you guys for years that this is how law enforcement has been treating us. And when you see it on video, you come up with every excuse under the sun, right? There's an old saying that I used to say, about somebody who has more excuses than anybody, right? So when it comes to Black Americans being shot by the police, white Americans will have more excuse than the guy trying to get out of paying child support for the police, right? So now when you see Black America, who is the moral construct of this country, and I have said this over and over and over to people. Now people are saying, man, you got a point. I've been saying this all my life. I said, whenever Black America decides morally that we don't give a fuck no more, and I had to say it just like it is. When we decide that, because we are the moral compass of this country. We are the moral compass of this country. Whether people want to, hey, what's going on, my brother? Me shout out to the first brother came in, his comment up there. Is we are the moral compass. You know why I say we are the moral compass? I didn't want to drag this out, but I'm gonna drag it out, right? It's because no matter what goes on with us, we always say, I forgive you. Now, I will be honest. That is a different generation. My generations, we ain't saying that shit. We just, I'm gonna tell you flat out, we ain't saying it. Somebody harmed somebody in my family, I'm not gonna say I forgive you. I'm gonna try to harm somebody in your family. I believe in an eye for an eye. If I can't take your ass out, I'm going after your family. That's how it should be. And if it was really like that, oh yeah, all this stuff wouldn't be going on. You could take that to the bank. You know what I mean? So now that America has lost its moral compass, all hell is breaking loose. You're seeing it because the one group of people that no matter what, no matter who's in a bad situation, no matter what ethnic group it is, we have always stood in solidarity to try to support the well-being of every ethnic group that has ever came to this motherfucking country. Everyone. And you know what you're seeing right now? You're seeing every one of these motherfuckers that came here, they're getting their ass kicked. Now, I'm not going to say I agree with President Trump because I didn't vote for him. I don't agree with everything he do. But one thing I can say, even though some of the shit he doing, some of these people's wrong, but what I can say is now they want to be the Rainbow Coalition. And I'm not talking about the Rainbow Coalition from Jesse Jackson in the 1980s when he ran for president, because I know that's exactly what y'all think I'm saying. Or I'm not talking about the gay community and their notions of Rainbow Coalition, right? I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, see, I told somebody I'm going to be on the live, right? I said, hey, man, I'm being live. Just reach out to me later on. What happens? He calls me. You see what I'm saying? Calls me. So let me see. Y'all give me 1 second. Tell you what, he's hard-headed. All right. There we go. All right. So where was I? I just lost myself in translation with this. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So now that everybody who want to disassociate themselves with the Black Americans, they looking for the Black American. You know why? Because they looking for that moral compass. They looking for somebody to say, hey, brother, it's going to be okay. Nope, it ain't going to be okay. Not going to happen. You broke, like they tell us, you broke the law, you got it. It is what it is. Even if you didn't break the law and the cop thought you did it, who cares? Take your ass to jail. Right? So that's what everybody is seeing. And that's why I said this over and over and over. The minute America loses its moral compass, all hell is going to break loose. And that's what's going on right now. All hell breaking loose. And I'm going to get to Venezuela in a minute, like I said, because I'm not going too long tonight. I think about these Somalians and what some of the fraud stuff that they're doing. A lot of stuff they're doing is legal, but, when you have one bad apple, they blame everybody, right? It's like one black guy did something wrong. Every black guy is born and marked with what that black guy did 150 years later. So whether you black guys want to admit it or not, you walk out the house, they look at you like Nat Turner at the end of the day. There we go. Cut that off. Voice was getting messed up. So that's where we're at now. And now everybody is looking for black Americans to come save them. We already tried to save y'all. And let me go back to something. That's what I was wanting to say for this. I got that phone call. When I talk about the Rainbow Coalition, and I am willing to do another Rainbow Coalition. Like I said, this is not about Jesse Jackson in the 80s with the Rainbow Coalition. This is not about the LGBTQ community and the log cabin Republicans with the Rainbow Coalition, right? This is not about any of these guys, right? The original Rainbow Coalition was Fred Hampton and a group called the Young Patriots. It was a white supremacy group. Well, once they got together and they started talking and they started realizing you're both poor as dirt, the government screwing both of you, they decided to come together. And that was the original Rainbow Coalition or Correlation, however you want to say it, right? That was the original. Now, part of that, even Fred Hampton and the Young Patriots lost members because the first thing he said was, you're going to cut out all this racist shit. This ain't what we're about. We're going against a massive machine. So we can't have people who are racist basically screwing and messing up the program. You see? And a lot of people left Fred Hamptons and the Black Panthers because of that. A lot of people left the Young Patriots because of that. Because they rather say, nope, I'm not going to work with this group of people because of color and other things too, right? But when you understand you have a duopoly, meaning when you come together and you try to have a duopoly, right? Meaning politically we are totally apart, but there's one common goal that we are going to stand up and fight for. That creates a duopoly. So he started that back then. Now, the word duopoly has been around for years, and he's not the only one that's done a duopoly, just not talked about because they want to keep you guys divided, black and white. They want to keep you divided, Hispanic and Asian. They want to keep you divided, right? But they want you all to not like us. And now you all are seeing that the government don't like you. You see, all these people, they say, oh, Stephen Miller, he's a racist. He's a neo-Nazi. Elon Musk, wait, look, he's from South Africa. He's a Boer. He's a racist. I'm going to say it straight up. That's what he is. He's a straight up Boer racist, right? But at the end of the day, they realize now they've got to get that white power structure back so they can have that kind of power structure and bring these young ones up. Because guess what? It's too many young people going to school together. See, this social media is a blessing and a curse. It's bringing people together. They're seeing different backgrounds. They're saying, well, wait a minute. I didn't know this person was like this. Or wait a minute. You mean to tell me all these years I've been taught wrong? You got to remember when I was born, and I'm not that old. Don't let the gray hair fool you. I'm seasoned, but I'm not old. When I was born, you still had school, and this is early 70s. You still had schools in the state of Mississippi that were still segregated. I don't mean where just a location thing, right? Just wasn't enough blacks there, no white stuff. No, they were still segregated. When I grew up, where I grew up at, up to my early teens, when I went to elementary school, there was a white kid that lived down the street or down the road, or down the block, however you want to say it. And he went to another school, same age. Now he went to, I think it was a private Christian school, all white school. And me and this guy, when we was younger, we couldn't stand each other. Because I'm going to be straight up. His family was racist as crap. I mean, straight up racist. But by the time we became preteens and we started going to school together for that 1 year, we would always see each other prior, but for that 1 year, there were certain events the schools would correlate with each other. That 1 year, we actually became really good friends, right? to the point where when my mom passed away, I was a teenager, preteen. When she passed away, he made it a point to make his mother come to the house and bring us a cake. That's what people did back then. You're born in the 70s and prior. Somebody dies, somebody brings a cake or a pie to your house, right? That's what they did, right? And she did it. And I knew everybody, my older brothers knew them too. They knew there was some racist people, but it took her son and me and him going together to school for them to kind of say, you know what, we got to at least show some kind of moral respect and sympathy. You see what I'm saying? So all y'all right now in this country that are of the Hispanic background, of the Asian background, and so on and so on and so on, right? Some of you are Haitian, some of you are from Africa. And of course, if they're from Africa, they don't just say, I'm African. They say what part they are. And that's how they distinguish themselves, whether it's Somalians, South Africa, or Ghana, Guyanese, they're Nigerian, they're Igbo. It doesn't matter, right? All of y'all now are sweating bullets. Because you know why? We, as Black Americans, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'm speaking for those that I've spoken to, right? Just don't give a fuck no more. That's just it. We just don't give a fuck. You see what I'm saying? You see? So it is what it is. Like this brother put in this comment here. He put in the comment, I can't be mad at them. They figured out the game and is playing it to a T. That's right. That's brother, just like Kanye West. I ain't even gonna lie. Man, he looked like Kanye West. Good God Almighty. He looked just like Kanye West. But I appreciate the brother putting the comment up. So I'm going to end with that because I can run the whole show talking about that subject. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. But I do say this. I am a man of empathy. And whenever someone loses their life, that meaning you didn't die of natural causes the way God intended to be, your life was taken by somebody else, I do have empathy because let's not forget, this woman does have a 6-year-old child. So we have a kid that will be growing up without the mother. I don't know where the father is. Ain't none of my business. I could say like most of these white folks say, well, not all white folks, because I don't want to put all white folks in the same book. I could say it like a down southern, all white folks. I don't want to put everybody, I paint everybody with the same brush. But a lot of them, if it was us, they would say, hey, where was your daddy? She didn't have a man. So this is a problem with my white Americans. You got to stop all this promiscuous living style and settle down and marry. Start having these kids out of wedlock. I wasn't born out of wedlock, so I can't. I don't know. Maybe I don't have that trauma and tragedy, right? So, but we'll say this: our prayers will go to the child, and hopefully that family is able to get some answers. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I could really go a lot harder on that, but I don't want people to paint me as some kind of Black racist because I'm not. But life is the life we live in, the life we was given. So we have to look at it that way. So, all right. So before I came on, and we're going to get to Venezuela in a minute. Before I came on, I was just watching where the president of the United States is pushing more and more of claiming ownership of Greenland. I'm going to say it that way. Right. And he's looking to maybe attack Greenland, if they don't bow down to his concessions. And, Greenland is controlled by Denmark, and Denmark has a military rule. We shoot first and ask questions later. That's their rule. And they had already told the United States, if they try to attack Greenland, they're not asking questions. They're not going to sit there. They're going to attack back. And now you have several countries in the EU. They're looking at trying to attack back. Also say, hey, we're with Denmark on this, right? So we've got a whole storm going on right now within this country. I think a lot of this stuff is distractions for what's really going on, whether it's the Epstein's file. I think with all this debt we have going on, there's something getting ready to happen in this country. One thing I know, and I've lived long enough to see, whenever the debt gets too high, And we start to see unemployment numbers go up real high. And there's a controversy within the White House, no matter who's been in office. We go to war. We did it with Bush Sr., we did it with Bush Jr., we did it. Obama continued some of those wars. Um, Trump continued some of those wars, and even Biden kind of slowed them down. But there was other wars that Biden and Trump and Obama had us in. They just wasn't televised as much, And the same thing happened with Reagan. When Reagan came in, the economy was going down bad, and we went in certain wars in certain countries. I.e., whether it's Panama, Guatemala, and Guatemala's late 70s, if I remember correct. So something's going on because this man is basically going around everywhere saying we should control this as God gave him the right to control anything, right? And I'm gonna lead into some videos here in a second. So let's get to this Venezuela thing and what's really going on here, because a lot of Americans are really stupid. We believe anything. We're really stupid, right? If we really think this is about oil, this is about drugs, this can't be about drugs, because in the 1991 and in the early 90s, I can't remember the precise year, the brain power does not work anymore. I don't have the memory that I had years ago. So let me say this. In the early 90s, the CIA funneled cocaine into Venezuela so they can funnel it back into the country. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it one more time. You can all look this stuff up. The CIA funneled cocaine and other drugs into Venezuela to be funneled back into the country, because drugs has always been a steady revenue source for the CIA. It's just a fact. You can look all this stuff up. I can't remember. It may have been the New York Times that put it out back then, or the Wall Street Journal. I think it was the New York Times. Not good. Like I said, my memory's not what it used to be, but I remember that emphatically because we was just getting over the crack epidemic and them admitting that, they put the crack in the Black community on purpose. They actually admitted to that. The thing was, we were so focused on Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. We're so focused on that we missed the mark when the CIA admitted that they put those drugs, crack, in the Black community, and it was there to fund the war. So history repeats itself. What we're looking at right now, and this is why we're looking at a doctrine, a discovery 2.0. If those who don't know what the doctrine of discovery was, you can look it up. I would give you a brief, not a full definition, but this is what gave the Europeans the right, under a godly right, to go all over the world and capture people that didn't look like them and enslave them and treat them like crap and take their resources, right? This is exactly what Trump is trying to do. At least that's the portrayal that he's putting out there, right? So think about it this way. You've got a very mentally disturbed old man running the country. And he says, well, we're going to go down there, take out the president because he's sending fentanyl to the country, right? Before, they was blaming China for the fentanyl. And here's the thing. You can go online and look at the indictment that they have on Maduro, President Maduro. It doesn't say anything about fentanyl. It says cocaine. You see, it don't take much to find out they're playing us like a soccer ball. They're literally playing us with this stuff. So let me go back to it. So here it is now. United States wants to go in there again and colonize Venezuela. Because it ain't the first time we've been in Venezuela. Now, don't get it twisted. It's not the first time. You see? And for them to make a statement, I think it was Marco Rubio, said that we should control everything in the Western Hemisphere. We should control, meaning the United States, right? So you mean to tell me that this country feels that we should control everything on the Western Hemisphere. You know, screw everybody else. We don't care about your sovereignty. They still are a sovereign country. We don't care. We're just gonna come in and take the resources, right? And we're gonna screw the system up. Let the wealthy come in. We take what we want. You get nothing. And guess what? Now, you know what happens in 5 to 10 years? They start migrating to the US. And the cycle repeats itself. Now we have the same white Black Americans saying, oh no, these people are coming over here. We need to close the borders. When we never realized that we go down there and create a shitstorm in all these countries. And these people are like, well, what am I supposed to do when I don't have drinking water? What am I supposed to do when I can't live anywhere? The cost of living is too high because the American companies that came down there, they've jacked the prices up. They've taken the resources. Yeah, I'm coming to your country because you destroyed mine. So if everything goes through the way he wants it to go through, that's what we'll be looking at again. And Lord forbid, if we send troops over there, this is going to be ugly. They're just having a meeting in Congress about 20 minutes ago about war powers in the president because they don't want this thing to happen. Now, let me repeat this. Let me rethink this for a minute. They really are on the fence right now. You've got in the Senate, you got a large number of Republicans and Democrats don't want Trump going in and touching Greenland. But these same Democrats and Republicans aren't saying too much about Venezuela. Y'all see the play? See, once again, it's not a problem to go and dominate and destroy, rape and pillage resources from these brown countries. But yet when you have an all-white country, hold up, we can't do it that way. Now, listen, if we're going to go all in, let's go all in. But understand this, Canada has just increased their military funding because they don't know what Trump's going to do. And I don't neither. None of us do. But they're not going to sit there and play this game with him. And that's what he's doing. He's doing empty threats. Right now, see, here's what no one's talking about. Excuse me. If you watch enough independent news and do enough reading, and you watch people who are balanced, they're not taking a Republican side. They're not taking a Democratic side. They're just giving you the news. So they're blasting everybody, right? You will understand right now, President Trump is trying to get a hold of China because he wants China to talk to Iran. He's worried about the Strait of Hormuz being closed. And that was a big deal before when Israel attacked Iran, because Israel's going to attack Iran again. The only reason why they had this peace deal was Israel ran out of weapons. They had no more weapons. So now they're restocked. Iran's restocked. They didn't do anything to the nuclear facility. That's been proven. So they're going to attack again. You can take that to the bank. And the biggest fear is if they close the Strait of Hormuz, all that oil comes out of there. Well, guess what? It ain't gonna make China no difference. They got over a billion gallons of oil in their reserves. And the number that I'm hearing, if they shut down the Strait of Hormuz, if everything's shut down right now today, China has over 100 days of oil reserve left that they can just function. If everything shuts down, we've got about 2 weeks, give or take a few, right? Because people are going to panic buy. We know that. People will panic buy. So this is where we're going to be. This is what we are staring down the pipe. This is what could really actually happen. You see what I'm saying? So once again, you know, we go into a country, a sovereign country, and we take this president out. And you know what's so funny? At some point, you got to start giving Maduro his props. Every time he takes a picture, he's smiling with his thumbs up as to say, I ain't worried about this shit, man. I'm not worried about this shit. You see? But you have all these people, these social mediaites, and I'm one of them, who are putting these fake narratives as if they're showing people dancing. Oh, they're happy Maduro's gone. They're showing videos from 3 years ago. They're showing videos. They're not even in Venezuela because people were wearing a Venezuelan flag. Now, I have a video I'm going to play of a young lady actually from Venezuela. And there's a grandmother there The second part's in Spanish, but I'll break it down when the video's on. But the grandmother is so worried, and this is what she said. She's worried that they're going to put them in reservations if the United States come over and try to invade their country, which would be the dumbest thing in the world, in my opinion. Militarily, it's worse than Vietnam. Of course, the land mass and how you get around. So we got to be careful when we're talking about going into these countries. You know, I mean, it's not as cut and dry as everybody want to think it is. You know, we got the most powerful military out there. There's no doubt about it. But you start getting on the ground and getting in these jungles, you have a Vietnam real quick, real quick. And I've had family members that fought in Vietnam, and they would tell you it's nothing pretty about it. Nothing pretty. So let's hope it doesn't happen. But this whole Venezuela thing, you know, at some point in time, we have to ask ourselves, who's running this country? Is it the president or is it Bibi Netanyahu? Because for some reason, this guy has been over here for 2 weeks. He's doing holidays. He's hanging out. He's high five. I don't even know if he's drinking Hennessy, but he's out there doing it. Right? So the reality is this. Bibi Netanyahu is calling, and I pronounced the man's name wrong, is calling the shots in this country. Every time he comes over, no matter what president is in office, whenever they send this guy over from Israel, we end up in a war, whether it's tactically, where we're just sending weapons, exchanging secrets, or boots on the ground. Every time. And he was just on TV a couple of weeks ago talking about we need regime change in Venezuela. Venezuela ain't did nothing to you. Why you want regime change? Now they're talking Colombia. The Colombia president done said, hey, Trump, you want some? Come get me. Come get me. I'm ready. Because everybody's not scared of this United States of America that we live in. Yeah, it's a great country. But I could tell you what, to some people that don't live here who are being really treated bad under our flag, they don't see it as a great country. And I can respect them for that. I truly can. Because I see a lot of countries that aren't great and people that live there and they say, man, it's the best thing since sliced bread. Know what you talking about? Y'all high taxes up there. So, you know, it's crazy. We like to tell everybody we're the standard bearer of what a country should be, but people can't afford health care. You see what I'm saying? You can't afford health care. You know, we don't want communism. Well, in China, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the president's name, just call him Ping. In China, when you buy your house, you pay the taxes on it one time. That's it. House paid off. You don't pay no more taxes. You can buy a house in the United States cash. In 5 years, you lose your job and you can lose your house over $1,400. Think about that. That doesn't work that way in China. In China, hey, once you register the car one time, you don't have to do it again. You don't pay that tax no more. You see? And if you make a certain amount of money, guess what? Meaning under a threshold, you don't even pay taxes. So who's the better country? Is it China or the United States? When you look at these numbers, right? Because that's what everybody's been arguing about. We shouldn't have to pay car taxes every year. And I know some states there is the property tax, which your car tax, Avalonian tax. Here it's a mill rate tax, right? So we all see that. But who are we to say that somebody else's country is not great? Right? So that's when I look at things like that we talk about. But get back to this Venezuela thing. They have gotten so many Americans confused. I'll play a video. I got to pull it up while I'm yapping my chaps. They've got us all confused and thinking it's about the oil. It's about the oil. We get the oil. You ain't getting shit. This ain't about oil. You got to remember, people, we are moving into the AI age. Technology is moving forward. So for all you dummies out here who think you're going to go get, that reminds me of something. DB, if you see this video, catch the replay. make sure you text me or call me, because there is somebody we know who voted for Trump. Well, I don't think he'd vote anyway. And he used to always tell us we don't want that dirty Venezuela oil. I need it. We got to get him on the phone. See what he's talking about. Right? He said get that for that ran out my mind. So this is not about oil. This is about rare earth minerals. I wish I could have had the video. That lady from the military talked about all the minerals in South America and how it was a national security that we don't control it. I want y'all to think about that. We don't control what's in their ground, and it's a national security. See, the reality is, in order for all this new advancement to work, we need these AI chips. We got to have them. There's no doubt about it. And without certain minerals, nickel and i.e. coltan, you're not going to be able to produce. And this is what the fight is. China's already been in Venezuela helping them out. There's nothing new under the sun there. China's been in Nigeria helping them out. See, all this stuff is to stop China from getting these resources. You know, what went down in Nigeria was not about saving no damn Christians, because them goddamn Christians been killing Muslims over there for years. So we ain't worried about. They was worried about that oil that Nigeria has and a couple other gold resources. So I'm gonna play a short video here, and this is what the material is called. You guys can look it up later on if you listen to it. You know, I don't have a piece here. I don't want to go into in detail, but in order for us to win the race of AI technology, we need this product. And this is what it's really about. It ain't about no damn oil. You think these companies that's in northern Canada gonna come, okay, we're gonna go invest in Venezuela because Trump said he's gonna give them over $1 billion. Everybody gets money under Trump, but the Americans say, let me tell you something. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to go back to what I just said. Play this video. If this motherfucking country can give somebody $1 billion, then give another country $40 billion. Give Israel $20 billion. Give the farmers money. Do you understand? This fool has created over $1 trillion in debt since he's been in office. But what y'all think about this? All that money he giving everybody else, y'all ain't got no money for reparations? Okay, let's play the video.
Interesting story. It is the global center for coltan. Otherwise, coltan. Coltan. C-O-L-T-A-N. It's like a blue quartz, and it contains tantalum, a rare earth metal. It's often called blue gold. It's Venezuela and northern Brazil, loaded with coltan.
What is that used for?
Rare earth metals, cell phones, various different things. Interesting story. It is the global center for coltan. Otherwise, coltan. Coltan. C-O-L-T-A-N. It's like a blue quartz, and it contains tantalum, a rare earth metal. It's often called blue gold. It's Venezuela and northern Brazil, loaded with coltan.
What is that used for?
Rare earth metals, cell phones, various different things. Interesting story. It is the global center for coltan. Otherwise, coltan. Coltan. C-O-L-T-A-N. It's like a blue quartz, and it contains tantalum, a rare earth metal. It's often.
All right. I wanted to play it a couple times so people can really get the gist of it, hear the word, and maybe look it up and, for themselves, right? So that's where we're at with this thing. It's not about oil, even though. This is why I said this is the doctrine of discovery, because it was religion used in that, right? And they're using these pastors are saying that basically, in theory, that we should have the oil as our right. God's given us this. I'm gonna play this video. This video is from a young lady I watch, Savvy Sabs. If you don't know who she is, she's very good. She does a lot of things in the community. She actually had a movie out. I think it's gonna go to Netflix. Thing, and that you can watch it for free, but it's either go to Netflix or one of these other channels. She's out of she lives in the Boston area, neighboring state. She's not big from there, but I watch all the time. She's very imbalanced. I'm gonna play a video from her channel and listen to what this pastor says. See, this is the foolishness we got going on, but this is the kind of foolishness that caused them to say we can enslave this group of people because God said so. And this is this foolishness that, and I don't care, don't nobody like it. This is the same kind of foolishness that gave a lot of black people religion right now. This got us all screwed up. But let me play the video. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Because you see, now the Zionists, they really got Christian Zionist pastors out here telling people that God said all of Venezuela's oil rightfully belongs to the United States. I kid you not. Listen.
They say you have seized Venezuela for the oil. Yes, this is true, that there is that which has been brought to the forefront of this earthly battle. But the enemy has sought and was seeking to bring war and to bring conflict through Venezuela and to control the oil of the earth. But the spiritual oil and the natural oil does not belong to the forces of darkness or to those who thought that they could bring a one world order. This is my reset. And the oil of the natural and the oil of the spirit is mine, says the Lord.
Jesus ain't tell you that. So you see what's happening? They're so desperate now. They're using Christian pastors to tell people that the oil belongs to us. Is that what the Bible taught? And people not even using the brain and like to see what the Bible said. And people say all these things that the Bible does not even say. It's stealing. So do people think that Jesus would say oil for you, but not for them? Yeah, you guys go take all that oil. It's meant for the United States, not for the Venezuelans. Does that sound like something Jesus would have said in the Bible for those who went to church? Does that sound biblical to you? It is theater at this point. It is theater at this point, ladies and gentlemen. They are playing in our face. There's no way, and I say this because I know there's people in that congregation who actually are sitting there and they're believing everything this guy is saying. He's a clown.
All right, you heard it from Sabby Sabs herself. She wasn't lying. He's a clown. But this is the kind of foolishness that they're using. You see, and this is why I had in the title the Doctrine of Discovery. And I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna break it down. Y'all go look it up. But this is the foolishness that they're doing. This is, how can I say this without cussing? And y'all have me cussing it, and I don't like. Y'all know I don't do a lot of cussing. I'm gonna say it this way. This is not to all my white brothers and sisters in this country. It's not. It's not. But this is a mindset of a lot of white Americans that feel that God can only talk through them and that God only wants them to have the earth, not anybody else, only them. And this is when I say that religion is BS. You see? This is when I say, I'm going to say it again. This is when I say religion is BS. Because you can't be a person of the faith and promote this kind of lie and these evil attributes to what can happen, right? And people can use all these theories they want, you know, God spoke through this person and God spoke through that person. The problem with all that is they're not speaking in godly terms. That's the problem, you know, and I'm going to let that die with that because I know when you start talking about religion, people get crazy. Oh, no, wait a minute. I got one more thing to say about religion. Have any of y'all seen, this is crazy, these monks that are walking across America? I think they're headed up to D.C. They're doing a peace walk, right? And you have these black Baptists, and I grew up Southern Baptist, so I know about these guys. I want to use another word, but I'm going to call them guys. I know how they think. And here's this guy trying to tell this monk, Now, the monk trying to mind his business. Hey, man, I don't want to deal with you. I'm out here for peace. I'm walking. I got my feet bandaged up. This, that, and the third, right? He out there walking. And the guy telling him that the monk is starting a spiritual warfare because he walking for peace. Now, the guy trying to tell the monk, you need Jesus Christ because that stuff you be praying to. He couldn't even say what the religion that the monk was praying to, right? But he's telling the monk, you need Jesus. See, the monk should have hit him up top of the head with that stick and said, listen, you don't have a hell or a heaven to put me in. When that day comes, I'll worry about it then. But right now, I'm marching for peace. So you trying to tell the man who's walking for peace that you worship the man who is for peace, but yet you being unpeaceful to him. You can't make this. Now I got to cuss. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up with what they do. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say religion is bullshit. I don't care which one you adapt. I'm not saying because you chose it that you're a bad person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's bullshit because I haven't seen in 50 plus years of living on this earth, I haven't seen it do anything for anybody. Right? Don't tell me I got to have faith. I got faith. I just don't have blind faith. You get me? So when I do things out of my personal life to help people, I do it because I know it's the right thing to do. I don't do it because the Bible tells me to do it. I've never cussed at my mom or my old man ever in my life. I never thought about it. I never hit a woman in my life. I think in my whole life, I've only called one woman the B word. Now, I've thrown some other words out there. But I don't need a book to tell me right from wrong. I know when I'm wrong. And I know there's consequences for it. You're picking up what I'm putting down? So am I to say that you're wrong because you want to follow a specific religion? No. This is just my opinion on religion. And I grew up very religious. So, hey, if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. It's my opinion. I got a right, which is First Amendment right, to say what I want to say. But there are consequences for the words that I may or may not use. I respect that. So if anybody want to challenge, get to challenging. But I tell you what, don't tell me about my sins if we can't talk about yours. And one more thing when it comes to the First Amendment right. You got the guy from Israel. Jesus Christ, I should play the video. I didn't have it downloaded. He's trying to get them to change the First Amendment right. So basically, they want to put in there where we can't talk bad or attack Israel verbally. They want to change our Constitution. And you have politician, Senator Ted Cruz. What was the former governor of Arkansas? Well, he was in Huckabee. I think he was in Congress at one time. Huckabee. They're all preaching this Israel first stuff, right? They've already sent pastors there. I was watching Savvy Saps, and she talked about this. They want to send 10,000 pastors. I was probably Israel pastors. 10,000 pastors to Israel, right? That's what they want to do. To train them to come back and teach us, because see, these white folks, they're not, now these are not my white Americans, but these white folks from Europe, Polish area, Ukraine, they want us to constantly think that they have been victimized so bad. Y'all, now think about this. These are the group of people who went through the Holocaust, right? And as bad as that was, why do I got to be reminded of it? It's over. Holocaust's been over and done with. So what are we doing here? They're still playing the victim, and they tell us all the time 6 million Jews were killed. I don't know the accurate number. Do I believe it's 6 million? No, but I don't know the accurate number. But I know 10, and the number is more than 10, but I'm going to say 10. I think we all agree that 10 is bigger than 6, right? So if King Leopold, who went into the Congo, Democratic Congo Republic, that's what it's called now, maybe I'll say it back in reverse, over 10 million Congolese he killed. This was documented. Why aren't we as a society trying to help the Congolese people? And Israel's over there killing them. They're over there having war and creating war. When I said they're over there, they're not over there physically fighting, but what they're doing is they're playing both sides. And I'm going to play a video to show you what Israel's doing. Because see, everybody's be talking about Hamas did this. Man, Israel funds Hamas. It was no difference when the United States funded bin Laden. That's a fact. He funded bin Laden. This is Ronald Reagan was in office. United States government funded the Taliban in the 80s up to the 90s. They funded the Taliban. That's just a fact. Right? So when we keep saying, like, who's funding these countries? You know, how are they getting all these weaponries and, you know, all this going on? But it's always American weapons that end up in their control. Right? So here's the thing. I'm gonna play a video. It's about, man, I'm so sick of people texting me. Play this video. It's about 2 minutes long. Give me time to smoke a cigarette. Do what I do, which I don't advise anybody else to do it. It's not healthy. But hey, I'm a grown man. And you are too. So let's play this video.
Israeli press today, and of course, the Israelis are trying to deny it. Okay, is there any truth to the Israeli government in this report? Israel asked Qatar to increase funds transferred to Hamas in Gaza a month before October 7th. That it was made by Netanyahu government officials, including Netanyahu himself, knowing that this money would go to quote unquote fund terrorism before October 7th.
This has been out there for many, many years, and it only stands to reason. As you correctly noted at the beginning of this segment, nothing in Gaza happens without the Israelis knowing about it and approving of it. Nothing happens. This is the most fortified border in the world, maybe with the exception of North Korea and South Korea. But the Israelis don't allow anything in or out. Well, Hamas is funded somehow. You have to keep people placated somehow. And that somehow is the Israeli government transferring funds to the Qatari government, and then the Qatari government transferring the funds to Hamas. It's been like that for years. But the thing is, it's at the same time, the Israelis trying to keep the Palestinians down by not giving them quite enough food, quite enough water, quite enough medication or electricity. And then it backfired after a while.
When you look at the stand-down order specifically, what do we know? I mean, obviously, we have this from IDF soldiers themselves.
Correct.
Right? And when you talk to Israelis, and I have, in fact, this morning, as I mentioned, in Tel Aviv, and quite furious about this. And it seems like they're growing more furious, as they may or may not be Netanyahu supporters. It doesn't really matter. But
All right. Trying to bring me back up here. All right, here we go. Now, that is from Redacted News. It's actually a good channel. They're pretty neutral. Now, I will say this. They're about 55% conservative and 47% liberal. But they kind of placate in the middle of the line, right? And they do have a lot of information out there that I like to watch and research on it, because, we do need to try to follow stuff that is not corporate broad. And those are the kind of places I don't follow. And try to get some news, because what we're getting is all filtered out. You can watch news at 6 a.m. and watch it 6 p.m. And if you watch corporate funded news, Fox News, CBS, NBC, they all say the same thing. They don't give you the meat and potatoes of the dinner plate. They just give you a salad, and hopefully it's chicken salad or a Caesar salad, chef salad. Pick your poison, right? That's what they give you. That they don't give you nothing more, nothing less. So that's the deal with that. And this is where we're at in this country. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that tonight. And damn, I went over my time. Well, I'm already over it now. I just might as well keep flopping for a couple more minutes. But at the same time, You know, we got to look back and we got to start saying, hey, when it comes to these wars, Mr. America's first president, we've seen this stuff before. So to all my Americans, you know, cut the BS, man. Stop falling for this dumb stuff. We should not be falling for this over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? It doesn't make sense. You know, we pride ourselves on America first and America exceptionalism. We can't do American education system because that's horrible. Half of you don't even know 3 branches of government. So we definitely don't want to put pride in our education system. It's getting better, but you know, we got some work to do in this country on that. I will say that for the most part. But once again, people got to ask themselves, man, you know, why is it that the president is beholding to all these rich donors that gave him money? You get what I'm saying? We've got to understand this, what's really going on, because the simple fact is we sit here and the average person would say, well, Maduro was pushing fentanyl. Those boats were bringing drugs to that boat had maybe a 40-gallon tank on it. Hey, that boat is not going to make it from Venezuela to the United States. Just not going to make it. So that's a lie. They're not getting, and then one thing I will say I love about the Republicans, they're very good at wordplay, narco terrorism, right? They're very good. So you got to give, you give credit where credit is due. You see what I'm saying? They're good at wordplay. But the reality is this. If this is about drugs, now this was what the president said. I'm going to make a statement, then the president said this. The president of the United States right now, I think it was 2020, or maybe before 2020, I can't remember. Maybe after. He pardoned the former president of Honduras, right? Gave him a full pardon out of the federal prison system. This guy was known to supply over 80% of the cocaine that came in this country in the late 80s up to the 2000s till he was arrested. Well known. Everybody knows that's what he was charged with. Well, the president gave this guy a pardon. So if he gave him a pardon, and here's what Trump said, this is his words, well, he was treated unfairly. Well, why would you want to take this guy out who hasn't brought any fentanyl in this country or been a part of it? Maybe some cocaine, but we have to admit that the CIA was trafficking cocaine down to Venezuela to come back to the country. That's just a fact. So for us as Americans to sit up here and believe this crap, that this guy is some big drug dealer and the president of the United States pardoning one of what we would call one of the biggest cartels to ever existed in Honduras, he pardoned the guy. You see where this stuff don't make sense, right? And you get people, they repeat it over and over and over and over, right? You hear the lie enough, you start to believe it as the truth. That's just a fact. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's just a fact. And this is where we're at. Lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, right? And of course, all this stuff, in my opinion and Theo's opinion, this is not granulated salt or sugar. In my opinion, he's just trying to cover up for everything that's in that Epstein file. He wants to take the heat off of him. And one thing I can tell with Trump, and anybody who lived in the Northeast or New England region, because there are 2 different regions. People think Connecticut and Massachusetts and Maine. Else the Northeast is not. It's New England. If you have known of this guy, you haven't known personally, but if you've known of his business practices, then you know that he will throw everybody under the bus to save his own ass. And that's just a fact. That's just it. Nothing else I can say about it on that. That's it. You know, the president of the United States is for himself. He's not for everybody else. He's only for himself, you know. And I'm not saying in life that's how you shouldn't be, but I'm about me and mine, me and my family. extended family and everybody. I'm all about them. But I'm not about throwing them under the bus or trying to hurt them financially so that I can survive. Either if I did something wrong, I got to be responsible. It's men, we should be responsible anyway. This is how I think. So with that, like I said, there's a couple more things I wanted to run on about, but I'm going to do a little more research before I jump into that. And God's willing, we'll be back next week, do it again. And I'm actually in the process trying to get Brother Marquette to come on to the show. We've actually communicated back and forth through Instagram, so it's about timing. I can't say it's going to be next week. I can't say it's going to be next month. He does have a great book out called The Black Box. If you're interested in that, you can follow him on Instagram. But for those who may know, he calls himself the Saint and the Sinner, the Saint. So I'm actually in talks back and forth with him. His schedule was just so hectic. He talked about towards the end of last year coming on, and he was like, I got 10 minutes of time. I need at least 45 minutes. I need more than 10 minutes. So, and I respect he's a busy person. So, hey, we're going to give it time, and we'll go from there. But with that, listen, I appreciate those that came in, comments, left, those that see it on the replay, appreciate it. If anybody see it on the replay, get a thumbs up. If you agree with what I said, appreciate it. If you didn't, put it in the comment. It's just your words. I'm not going to be offended. Don't worry about it. But hey, tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. Let me know, was it real? And I'm going to end it like I always do with the late, great Joe Madison taking us out of here.
Where will you be, or where do you want to be when America falls?
Well, I'm going to tell you this.
No, don't tell me. Answer my, listen, I'm going to tell you like I told the other callers. I didn't interrupt you because I don't want to get into the. I asked you a simple question. Where do you want to be when America falls? Where do you?
America.
Wait a minute,
where I'm at. Where I'm at. On my knees praying to Lord.
So that's
Jesus
where you
Christ.
want to be. Well, let me tell you what Fannie Lou Hamer said about being on your knees while you're watching America fall.
You can pray until you faint. But if you don't get up and try to do something, God is not going to put it in your lap. And there's no need of running and no need of saying, honey, I'm not going to get in the mess. Because if you were born in America with a black face, you're born in the mess.
Goodbye, Sammy.